Maintaining good account health is key to avoiding warnings, account suspension, and possibly even losing your Amazon account. In this video today, I'm going to go through all about account health, what to look for, and some top tips for you to keep you on the right side of Amazon selling. So let's get started. Okay, so if you don't know, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I have been an Amazon seller now for about 4 years, selling on Amazon UK, and I'm just about to start on Amazon USA as well. And I've got a goal right now to do £1 million over the next 18 months. I'll put a link up there. You can watch that and see about my journey. But enough about me, what are we going to talk about today? So first things first, I am going to talk about what Amazon account health is. Number two, I'm going to talk about the metrics you need to know as an FBA seller. Number three, I'm going to talk about the metrics you need to know as an FBM seller. Number four, I'm going to talk about when it is likely that Amazon is going to suspend your account, if you're close to that. Number five, top tips on how to fix your suspended account. Okay, so first things first. Number one, what is your Amazon account health? Well, quite simply, this is a section within Seller Central, and I'll show you in a second, whereby Amazon displays all the metrics it uses to monitor you as a seller to assess your performance of how well you're selling. Quite simply, your account health. Now, you might be thinking, how do I get to see this account health? Quite simply, log into Amazon Seller Central, click on Performance, and then go to Account Health. And you'll see it right there, and I'll share obviously a screenshot here. You can see that as well. Okay, so that leads me quite nicely onto the second thing, which is what metrics do I need to monitor? Now, we're going to break this down into FBA and FBM. So number two, what metrics do I need to monitor as an FBA seller? When you are looking at your account health, there are certain metrics you need to keep an eye on or just monitor on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, just to ensure that your account is in good standing, good order, that Amazon's not worried about your ability to sell on Amazon, i.e. your account health is going poor. Now, having multiple complaints, having multiple problems with your account health can and is likely to lead to things such as account suspension or account warnings, account suspension, and even losing your Amazon selling privilege. Now, the one thing which I will just add to this as well is with Amazon, they are super hot about creating or not creating multiple selling accounts. You pretty much have to get permission. Not exactly, but there's a long thing to it. But quite simply, it's not like you can mess up one account and then go, don't worry, I'll shut that down, make another one. Amazon just will not let you do that, period. So you get one account, look after it. Super important to maintain your account health. Okay, so first things first, just before I jump into this, while I call this things you need to consider for FBA sellers, if you are an FBM seller as well, you also need to be monitoring these, looking at them. They actually affect both FBA, FBM, they affect all sellers on Amazon. So just be super mindful of this. And then afterwards in section 3, I'll go through just what you need to consider as an FBM seller only. So the first section you want to look at is policy compliance. Now, quite simply, this is showing you how many violations or problems you've had with your account. Now, you want to keep this to literally 0 or as low as possible. Now, too many policy compliant warnings will bring your account health from good down to obviously amber and then down to red, which is poor. And quite simply, when you're getting into the poor section, there is a very high risk of account suspension and even losing your account, obviously, if it's not dealt with quickly. So just be super mindful of keep making sure that your policy compliance is kept to a minimum, if not 0. Now, the second one to consider is product compliance requests. And this is a really annoying thing that Amazon does. It's quite simply, they ask you as a seller to provide compliance documents for the products you are selling. Now, this can be when you first start selling it or even afterwards. These things such as product certificates, labels of conformity, and even declarations of conformity. Now, quite simply, you need to upload them and share them in Amazon as quickly as possible. We're not saying that if you miss one, it's going to be the end of the world, but if you repeatedly miss them, it could have a negative impact on your account. So ideally, get them all filled out, get them all passed to Amazon, just so that they can ensure that they're getting the right documentation and you're working with them. Now, you might be asking, why do they ask these things? Number one, they want to make sure the products are safe. And then number two, they just want to make sure what you're selling is compliant with regulations. So get those documents, share them with Amazon, and keep your account metrics in good standing. Obviously, to sell on Amazon. We've just talked about FBA, but it isn't really FBA, it's FBA and FBM. So what I've just talked about is everything that both FBA and FBM sellers need to know. But now let's just have a quick look at what are the things as an FBM seller you need to monitor and to keep an eye on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to ensure your account is in good standing. So number 3, this is what things do I need to measure or monitor as part of an FBM seller. Let's go into it now. Now, for each one of these things that I'm going to go through, what I will say is that for multiple cases, and it could be an individual or across the board, may lead to your account going into a poor status, and as a result, warnings and potential suspension. So top tip for you is just make sure you're monitoring all of these to keep that account health green. That means you're going to have a good status with Amazon to sell. So first things first, order defect rate. Now the target for this is to get it below or keep it below 1%. Now quite simply, order defect rate is for any orders you've had over the last 60 days where there's been a problem raised by the customer or even the payment about them to Amazon. Now, quite simply, there are 3 things Amazon monitors as part of the order defect rate, and I'll just tell you what they are now. So they're looking at the negative feedback rate, the A to Z guaranteed claim rate, and also the credit card chargeback rate. So those 3 things go into making the order defect rate, and if that climbs above 1%, then obviously there's going to be a problem and Amazon's going to be looking into it with you as the seller because your order defect rate has gone above that 1% mark. So keep that low. So the next one is the late dispatch rate. Now this is the number of orders which are dispatched past their expected dispatch date. Now Amazon monitors this on a 10-day rolling basis and a 30-day rolling basis, and they're looking for you to achieve a sub 4% late dispatch rate. If you go over 4%, there's a problem. Stay under 4% and you're generally fine. So just be aware of that. So the next one is the return dissatisfaction rate. Now, quite simply, this is the rate at which the customers are not happy with their return experience. Now, quite simply, you want to keep this below 10% of all your returns. And this is just an ongoing measure of Amazon's doing as part of your Amazon account. Now, quite simply, 2 things that are going to affect you with your return or RDR rate, and they are number 1, incorrectly denying a return when Amazon later overturns it, and then number 2 is not getting back to the customer within 48 hours of all return requests. Keep at the top of those 2 and that's going to keep your RDR down, and obviously you're not going to get an alert on that. Okay, so the next one is the cancellation rate. This is the metric or the measure of the total number of cancellations you have had over the last 7 days. And it's on a rolling basis. Quite simply, you want to keep this below 2.5%. The next one is the valid tracking rate, and this is about ensuring that you are adding or including a valid tracking number in all your shipments. Now, Amazon monitors this over a 30-day rolling period, and quite simply, you need to ensure that you're getting over 95% of the numbers entered in for tracking details for your shipments are valid tracking numbers which are working. So keep it above 95% and you're fine. The final one is the on-time delivery rate. Now, quite simply, this is Amazon tracking all your orders to ensure that they arrive on or before the estimated delivery date when the customer placed the order. What number do you need to achieve? Well, 97% of all your orders need to be delivered on or before the delivery date for all the shipments you do as an FBM seller. So the one thing which I will just say is that all of those things I've just gone through are for FBM sellers, only fulfillment by merchant. Now, quite simply, if you're an FBA seller, what I just talked about, you don't need to worry about because Amazon deals with the shipments. So if you're going to do FBA, don't worry about those. But for the FBM sellers, those are the key metrics you need to be thinking about to ensure a good account health. Question for you. Have you had challenges with your account health? Are you going through something right now which is maybe really affecting your account health? Drop it in the comments down below. I'm just keen to see what issues we're all facing and maybe where we're struggling. Perhaps maybe I'll make a video on that to help you out in your Amazon business. Okay, so one of the big questions people are worried about and thinking about is when will Amazon suspend my account? And quite simply, there is no hard and fast answer. There is not a very clear-cut definition, and nor does Amazon release very clear, when you do this, you will get suspended. It's based on a number of factors that Amazon looks at, and quite simply, they try and communicate that through the account health. But what I want to go through right now is a couple of things that you want to be really aware of as an FBM and FBA seller that are just going to help you out to say, here's when you're likely to get into some problems that are likely to cause a suspension within Amazon. So if you are an FBM seller, the things you really want to be monitoring, keeping an eye on are Things such as around poor delivery performance and the core metrics you're really going to be keeping an eye on. Pretty much we talked about them, but I'll just go through the key ones that you want to look at now. They are the order defect rate, the cancellation rate, and the late dispatch rate. Those three metrics are the ones that you really want to focus on because they are the most common reasons why people get their account suspended as an FBA seller. It's not to say the other ones aren't important, but they're the ones that you're most likely going to have pop up when you're selling. Now, the other one to consider when you are an FBM seller is quite simply if you are getting multiple violations across the board. Individually, they might not seem very much, but they stack up. They all add a certain amount of weight to obviously your account health. It's going to cause it to go into poor. Or if you were to get serious violations from maybe one or two sales or one or two products, that is very likely to cause your account to go into suspension, obviously while Amazon investigates it and asks you to create a plan of action. Now, if you're an FBA seller, what kind of things are Amazon likely to suspend your account for? And quite simply, whether you're an FBA or even FBM, these things are still very relevant to both FBM as well, but let's go into it now. Quite simply, a string of multiple violations. Now again, same as FBM, whereby you've got multiple small violations, and if you've got lots and lots of little violations, they can add up and obviously cause a problem with your account health and putting it into poor. As a result, that's going to put you into suspension. The other one is whereby you have maybe a serious violation, something which is a really big problem, or maybe a customer feedback, which is a real concern. For example, things like selling fakes or dangerous goods, that could be Amazon might put your account into suspension because there's a serious violation of their policies, and as a result, they're quite concerned about it. Second thing to consider is Amazon will request documentation about the products you are selling. For example, declaration of conformity, DOC, lots of different types of documents. Now, what we have seen in the forums is quite simply that certain sellers have said that their account has been suspended when they've been non-compliant with those requests, i.e. they're not getting back to them. Now, a lot of time Amazon sends out a lot of document requests, and quite simply, sometimes we can't always fulfill them. But if you can fulfill some of them, you should always get back to them. Generally speaking, what we've seen is that you can miss the odd one, but if you miss all of them, it's going to cause you a real problem. So top tip, just get back to every single one of those compliance requests. That's going to help your account health. Okay, so the final thing which I want to talk about today, quite simply, is some top tips about if your account is suspended to help you out. Now, number one, what I'd really recommend is getting your account suspended is serious. You need to be careful, take your time, get it right, and don't panic, but do take it very seriously. Now, what's going to happen is Amazon is going to reach out to you and basically tell you your account is suspended, and they're going to probably ask you to write a plan of action to feed back to them. Now, I would really recommend reading that email like 5 times at least, going into the detail, really trying to get to the grips about what they're trying to ask of you in that plan of action. Now, a top tip I'd really make is quite simply is one of two things. One, you can go get expert advice. So there's a lot of companies out there who do provide services for this. But also number two, there is a lot of sellers who have gone through the same experience and also come out the other end. So I'd really recommend reaching out to those people and asking for support and advice. You don't know what you don't know, and they can probably help you. Now, I'd also really recommend do not rush to submit a response. We all have the tendency, read it, right, let's get a quick reply, get it done. I really understand that. But with Amazon, they'll only accept a certain number of emails before they say, no, sorry, we're closing the case. You've just sent back too many replies and we're not happy. So don't keep treating this like a normal Seller Central support request, whereby if you keep sending it, eventually it'll get through. This is one thing at a time, very slow. If they're not happy with the response, really try and understand why and get it perfect. Speak to other people, speak to experts. It's really going to help you. Don't keep sending back those responses. Amazon will just go, nope, sorry, we're not accepting any more responses. We're overloaded with your responses. And they'll just say, you've had too many chances. We're not going to look at this anymore. So be very careful. Now, I said it before and I'll say it again, double, triple, quadruple check that plan of action, speak to an expert or speak to other sellers, reach out in the forums, reach out in the groups. Look at us in our FastTrackFBA group. We'll help you as well. We'll try and support you if we've been through the same thing. Ask the question, what's the situation, or share what's happened. Share the whole document, not just oh, they said something. No, share exactly what Amazon has sent you, because without that, no one will understand exactly what the problem is. And we need to understand exactly what the problem is. So reach out, ask for support, ask for help, and then get the feedback done. And the final thing I will say is good luck, and hopefully you'll get your account unsuspended quickly and back selling on Amazon. Okay, so that is everything from me today, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Quite simply, Amazon account health is super key. Why? Because if you don't get it right, the other side of it is getting suspended. And I talk from experience whereby I have been in that situation, and it's horrible. So quite simply, give me a like if you've liked this video, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. And what I want to do is drop a video around here about the dark side of Amazon, situation that I went through quite recently, whereby I was unable to cash out any money from my Amazon account. Watch that video. That is going to share you a little bit about my journey and how I went through that as well. So from me, Thomas Parkinson, and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.